Hey everyone, Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hope everyone's having a great Sunday. That's when this video is dropping. Decided to do something a little bit different. We got a headset here. Apparently, the feedback from my brand new microphone is way too low, and I know there's been a number of people that have been complaining about that. So, would love to hear your thoughts. How does this sound, respective to your guys' volume control? I might end up, using this thing for the foreseeable future. So in this video, I wanted to personally take the time to talk about, um, I guess, a new emerging trend. I'm not gonna say it's new. It's been prevalent for I'd say the last 10 years or so. It's just more people are doing it, so there's more options out there on eBay and various other sites as well. For something like this, and that is. Um, what do we call these? It's i- blind BU purchasing, blind BU coin rolls. You're promised one particular coin out of the lot, but you don't know dates, grade ranges, things like that. And oftentimes, because the prices are so high on these, they're more of a gambler's fallacy than anything else. But the process works. It works because, like, for example, this particular seller, Decky's CNC, had sold two of these out of the three that he or she had put on here. So obviously there are some people that are interested to the point that they're willing to pay $539.99 for these things. Now, there was a best offer option on there. I mean, you could throw in a best offer, but do I foresee see these selling for anywhere remotely close to what a GemBU CC coin would go for? And then we'll talk about that because there's a pretty wide range of dates, and some of them are actually very well worth it in the $539 range if you get the right one. But odds are, more than likely, you're probably going to end up with a coin from 1882 to 1884. All right, which is some of the more common. They were the GSA Horde pieces that are so prominent out there. Typical Gem BU coins, run in the open market raw for around 3.25 to 350. Gem BU, by the way, is anything that grades numerically a 64 or 65. Choice would be like 62, 63, and just generic BU would be, in that 60 to 61 range, somewhere around there. So coin that obviously less desirable in the marketplace because they have like contact marks. They got a lot of chatter from either being in a mid-sewn bag for a while, and they've just kind of been jostling around in that bag. And when one coin makes contact with another, it's going to leave a pretty hard mark on there. Um, so we have our first example right here. We have a few that we're going to talk about and kind of assess which ones are a little bit more of a smarter gamble, I suppose, because at the end of the day, each of the like four or five listings we're going to look at, they are above market, and these particular coins are extremely desirable right now with the price of silver jumping up, hanging around that $30 mark for a good minute. Now it's a little bit less than that today, but it's been rebounding nicely. Um, but we need to know where we're at on these and strategically make a good purchase decision when we're doing these. Because at the end of the day, you have two options when you buy these things. You add it to your collection, and that could look like just putting in an album, and then you're absolutely 100% fine with an up level type piece for your collection. Sure, I mean that's fine. But at the same time, you grade it, you add it to your collection, you just hold on to it. Or the idea is you find something really nice. Maybe you find a Hop and Vam variety that was otherwise missed by the seller, and then you go ahead and flip it. And hopefully, the idea is is that you make a few bucks in a process. Now, when the coin right out of the gate is about 180 to $200 higher than what the stated market is for the common dates. Not saying that you're not going to get, like, say, an 1878, 79, an 80, 81 CC, and then some of the ones from like the 1890s. So, I mean, that would be a dream. But do you think Decky's CNC would actually send out one of those coins? Probably not. I mean, I'm going to say it's about an 80% odds that you're going to end up with one of the more common dates, okay? And that makes sense because this individual's trying to make money in any which way possible. And with the way eBay fees are structured right now, it's quite expensive to sell on the platform if and only if you're doing high-end sales like he is here. High-end sales is anything above $200. I have a very low bar, by the way, when it comes to stuff like that. But let's go ahead and kind of dissect this particular listing. GemBU, CC, Minted Morgan, Silver Dollar from OBW Roll, which really doesn't exist because the Morgan Dollar hordes and things like that, they were housed in canvas bags for the most part, and that whether that's coming from the Fed Reserve Bank or regular banks, the First National Bank of Omaha or First National Bank of Baltimore or things like that, they didn't really use paper craft rolls for these. They just didn't. It wasn't until about the late teens into the 1920s where they were starting to dive into that. Actually, the first machine, if I remember right, that did anything with any sort of like bank wrap roll type feature wasn't patented until 1907. So, when we consider the timeline for these particular coins, which were in the 1880s, 1870s, 1890s, and for the coins to look this nice, it doesn't. The facts doesn't add up. All right, and considering that, um, paper and the sulfur and everything that's in it, and how it reacts to the coins would look brackish dark, and the toning would be quite unattractive, for bankrolls that are over 110, 120 years old. So when we look at these coins, I mean, they look fantastic. I would say that they probably have a real shot at 63 and 64 grades. This one here, this 83 that you see here, way too much contact marks for my taste. So that's probably, if you get a 63, consider yourself lucky, and that really puts the coin at about $290 to $300. Okay, so that's a big L. That if you were going to pay full list and not do any best offer, and you ended up with that sucker, I would be less than thrilled. And then look at the other coins. You know, they're just okay in my opinion. Now, when we consider original bank wrapped, especially ones that have stood the test of time, they have the kind of like the wax surface on them, which kind of in a way that they're somewhat legit, and then you also have the fading of the paper. So when you open these things, you have the paper that's overlapping on the roll, and then you finally peel off the layers, you're going to see that the color of the paper is going to be different. That's been hidden from any sort of light compared to the stuff that's been more exposed to light, and also contact marks from other rolls and just wear and tear over time. Another thing to point out for the kind of like the hidden stated age of these rolls, why isn't there any toning on these? That is damn near next to impossible to have a roll that is. I'm just going to use this as kind of as I don't know, as an approximation, 80 to 100 years old, for it to have no toning whatsoever. Again, impossible feat to see. And looking at the few rolls that this seller has here, no toning, nothing whatsoever. It's I'm just at a loss for words. And it's just there's just lots of pictures about the rolls and the coins and things like that. I mean, you can see the CC on there. And if you find something neat on one of the pictures, it's not like you could message the guy and say, "Hey, I want the coin in picture number 7 that you have on the bottom left-hand corner." I mean, it's it's not like that. They're willing to do that for you. I mean, you could certainly give it a try, but odds are that it's like you're gonna get just some random CC GemBU coin that we choose for you. All right, so. I mean, if you wanted this and you wanted to pay this kind of money and not have to deal with the rigmarole of, being part of the bidding process, which can be a little cumbersome sometimes, if you suspect that there's some unnatural bidding activity, then whatever, just go ahead and buy the thing. But we're all in a position these days where money's a little bit more tight, especially for collectibles. It doesn't matter if you're spending money to get collectibles that you're going to get most of your money back from it in the long run. You don't want to be pigeonholed into something like this, and then all of a sudden you've already lost 40% of your value. Okay, that's taking the fun out of the collecting aspect of what we do here. So I have another one here for you. This one from Degree, a deodorant company, I guess. So we have a CC Morgan dollar gem BU uncirculated coins from original roll OBW. Again, I take great exception by the loose usage of original roll OBW. OBW, by the way, stands for original bank wrapped. So again, you're promised one random CC Morgan dollar, $499. There's no best offer option on this one. CC Morgan dollar uncirculated gem, so that they are guaranteeing a coin that will be in that 64 to 65 range because it is stated in their listing. Um, consider it in writing, so therefore they're kind of like holding to their own standard. Beautiful gem uncirculated CC Morgan dollars. Dates will range from 1878 CC, which is okay. That's a good date there, all the way to 1892 CC. All right. Obviously, they're not stupid in putting in 93 CC, because why would you? If it were me and I had come across a horde of Carson City Morgans, just from some random kind of, I guess, estate or whatever, you'd best believe that 1893 CC, this Gem BU coin, would end up to PCGS because I'm going to make all the money in the world on that thing. Broken open from original rolls, complete mint state coins with beaming luster, fantastic value, and fantastic price. So we're going to assume again that for $499, the date ranges that you are promised are going to be extremely limited. 83, 82, 84. These are the dates that normally, again, came from the GSA. A lot of them are out there in really nice choice to gem BU condition. The picture that they show you, guess what? It's an 82cc. Now it does have what looks to be somewhat PL surfaces, but when we look at this coin here, if you look at the fields, you see all the chatter there. So, even if this one did get PL, it's going to be like a 63 grade. There's a lot of chatter on the cheek, the high points of the coin. A very attractive coin, no less, but is it really worth $499? Do your research and find out. You're going to see that that is well above market. And what I can tell you right now, and this is so unfortunate, the market today is rife of 82 to 84 Carson City Morgans. There's just so many of them in the highest state of preservation. Even finding one in a 65 or 66 is really not all that hard. If you go to a website like Great Collections or Heritage Auctions, you can easily find coins of that particular grade state every single week. That's how prevalent they are. All right, so we do know this one here. You're going to be paying more for one. Again, it's really up to you if you did want to get that and not care about how much you spend, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to enjoy the hobby in some regard. Um, and we have this one here. So we've shifted from the Carson City conversation, which has a whole bunch of gravitas and money baked into it and value, into like more common date, very pedestrian dates, ranging from 1879, I would imagine, going all the way up to like 1884 P Mint, O Mint coins for the most part. 1880s, 1881s are a couple more that are very common, and then you get into like 1897, 1887, 86. Very common dates. They are promising one JMBU Morgan Silver Dollar from OBW Roll Estate Hoard Mint. UNC. So they're just kind of guaranteeing an uncirculated kind of coin for $91.98. Free ship, by the way, which is admirable. So there's an 1885 right there. 1896. It's one of your more common dates. I'm suspecting that's the reverse of the 1896. And keep in mind, these are different sellers. I mean, look at the three here. All right, we'll use that one there. Actually, not too bad. I like the fact they didn't use the old retired like bank checks as a backdrop, because everybody seems to be doing that for the allure of like an old estate kind of like bank hoard find. There's more of that right there. Again, we're kind of getting tired of seeing these type of shots because everybody's doing it. It loses the uniqueness of the product. It loses the uniqueness of the particular seller because there's only been a few sellers that have, staged their coins in this way. Don't get me wrong, it's a very clean, well executed look, but everybody's doing it. So if it's working for, 30 other people, it's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it too. And at that point, you're jockeying for a position to be able to sell your coin for the lowest amount of money to where you're still making a buttload of money. So let's talk a little bit about coins and respective grade. Again, GMBU by classic numismatic definition are 64 and 65 graded coins. So we have to assume that our coin is going to be somewhere in that general vicinity. The problem is when we end up receiving an 1896, and keeping in mind, grade really doesn't matter unless it's in a graded holder. But when we're talking about a coin like this seller says it's Gem BU, but you might have a dealer that says, well, no, this is more of a 63 grade. That's going to make a pretty big difference in value. So let's take, for instance, this 1896. A general, generic kind of choice BU coin that you would feel might be a 63 grade in this market is right around $48 to $50. Okay, that might seem a little bit low, but that's on a very common day coin, ladies and gentlemen. It's a coin that is, again, prevalent in today's marketplace in that particular grade state. They literally grow on trees. The market is flooded with them, and that's why you're not seeing like this huge, wild kind of buyout of these coins, is because many millions of them were made even after the multiple periods in time where melting was prevalent. Like after the Hunt brothers, during the recession, things like that. But a coin like this, yeah, I mean, you're looking at about a $50 bill. Again, it would be a huge L if I bought this coin, for example, pay $92 for the thing, and receive an 1896p. I mean, for that kind of money, I would have bought two 1896Ps, And I'm sure they're going to be out there. If you go on the platform Whatnot right now, and I've sold a lot of BU Morgans, I saw a lot of them for like $45, And that's during live auction. That's for some of the more common dates like this, you know. Um, they're not as special as you guys think. Sure, I mean it's cool because they're over 120 years old, but when we're collecting, we're also kind of junior investors as well. We're always looking out for the things that we buy that maximizes the amount of money that we do have, all the while keeping the price in line for future returns. Okay, or not so much future returns, but I just want a return on my coin, whether that's 100% of what I put into it or what have you. I just want at the end of the day to know that I'm getting at the very least one for one on my money. because there will be a time that you'll need to cash out, due to like health, or it's like it's coming to my time where I'm done with a hobby and I want to leave something for my kids. I'd rather cash out to give them money rather than to give them coins where they have to do research and then go through, all the business of going to a dealer trying to get, estimates and, appraisals and things like that. So yeah, definitely a little bit higher than what I want to spend there. But again, what's cool is it's not $100. Yeah, I've seen a few of those, $100, and again, I would steer clear of those. Here's another one right here. I would say above all, this is what I would say to be the most reasonable. Because number one, they don't have 1921 dated coins in here. Thank you, God. These are 1878 to 1904, kind of like a random mix of brilliant uncirculated BU coins. That could be interpreted as being like Mint State 60 to 63, maybe an occasional 64 in there. This is a roll of 10 coins for $699.95. All right, which puts it at an average before tax and shipping at $69.95. Pretty good math there. So yeah, I mean, this one I'd be more inclined to push the button on. This one, from Degree here, I would say is probably the most reasonable listing that we've seen so far here. And if I were getting into the hobby and I wanted kind of like a no nonsense type purchase, and I'm not paying wildly too much above and beyond what the market is, this one would probably fit that bill. Again, $70 per piece. I know there are Whatnot streamers, and I've seen other eBayers that they've come close to selling these at 70. And if you're lucky and you're pretty well astute at VAM varieties, and you get these, and it's like the first thing you do is open up VAM World to look for die pairings and cool little varieties, doubled dies, and various other things like that. This might actually work out very good for you because the cost of ownership is relatively low on something like this. And we're assuming that every single coin is going to be common. There's an 1882S. All right, that's fine there. 84P. All right, so they only had two pictures in this one. And it's about as generic of a paper roll as you will ever find. That thing looks like it was just wrapped yesterday, and I would imagine that it probably was wrapped yesterday. So the description notates 1878 to 1904 silver Morgan dollar roll, 10 coins, brilliantly uncirculated BU, large batch of Morgan dollar rolls picked up as part of a retiring Morgan collector's accumulation. We travel in upwards of 3 to 4 times a year to pick up large collections, and this one was one of the largest that we've picked up so far. The retiring collector's grandfather held these through adulthood and started passing them down sometime in the early 1900s. We are selling at what we believe to be the most competitive and as aggressively low of a price as possible. Great value, fantastic price, satisfaction completely guaranteed. All right, and for the most part, I would agree. Speaking of which, our good old boy Denver Coins Company is the innovator of what we've been talking about here today. So that's this person right here. They have the good old, old retired personal check background or business check with the coin on top of it. This is the innovator. And I have a few things to say about Denver Coins. They've actually changed names a few times after being implicated from doing some pretty shady selling practices. So that's about the extent of what I'm going to talk about on this one. One of our guys, Adam Chambers, got taken pretty heavily from this company right here on a purchase of a Standing Liberty quarter. All right, so that'll be something for another day, I'm sure. But there you go. Just scrolling down, there's a bunch of look, there's just a buttload of other people doing the whole BU Morgan dollar, you get one coin kind of, affair. You could be this guy here all the way on the left that's selling the 1878 to 1904 BU Choice Uncirculated O mints for $119.99 a piece. And that's, oh boy, it's giving me a feeling in the pit of my stomach that I don't personally like, because it's, when you piss money away in that fashion, it is such a sour feeling. And to be honest, for not a lot of new collectors, and I've actually talked to a few folks, when things like this happen and they go above and beyond what their personal kind of like emotional level can withhold, they get out of the hobby. After a I'm not gonna say that something like this, if you buy one of these, it's catastrophic, because you could always return the coin. But you know, from a pride standpoint, even new collectors, they want to feel like that they're not making a stupid mistake. All right, and I've been in that same boat too. I've made a bunch of stupid mistakes in this hobby, but I could tell you this: it won't ever get me down. There are mistakes that are big enough to get you just raging mad, and there are some mistakes where, like, well, yeah, I kind of saw that one coming, and I'll do better next time. This is going to be one of those listings here where you're going to feel like, it's okay. Yeah, it doesn't break me by any stretch. Sure, I spent $700 plus tax on it, but at the end of the day, I didn't spend $1,000. There was another gentleman on here somewhere that was selling these things. That's the original listing we looked at. That were selling coins like this for a 10 coin roll for $1,299. I'm like, are you smoking crack? Where'd you find the price for that? That really means that you're greedy as hell. And those are the people that have really put themselves out there, really, really obviously, and then those are the people that you avoid. All right. So there you go. There's a glance at a few listings. Sorry to take your guys' time. I figure you guys probably already know this. But I have a lot of new collectors that come in and watch my videos, and this is something here that if you have a little bit of money to invest, and that's the big reason why that people look to get into coins and precious metals, is because they need that extra reinsurance that their dollar is going further by buying tangible assets like this. It's a hedge against inflation, yada yada yada, all the great stuff. In a zombie apocalypse scenario, you could trade these in for a cart full of food. You get the idea. It's just they have a lot more spending power that probably won't be realized until much further on into the future. So that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you guys think about this headset device, if this is better for the volume and all that. And thank you guys for all your views and support. Hopefully you are vastly entertained by my Coin Talk rampage that I usually do. I mean, I've been doing a lot of videos here lately, so I hope you guys like that as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell for instant notification if you guys enjoy the content. I certainly would appreciate that extra endorsement. All right, so I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.